and welcome to Otaku no Video. Thanks as always for joining me. I'm here today with a review of Volume 4 of Pluto. Sorry. Volume 4 of Pluto, which is Naoki Urasaw, creator of Monster and Master Keaton and 20th Century Boys, decided to do a remake of an Astro Boy story, but very much in his own way. And so this is Volume 4 of 8. And at this point, I'm going to have to move into spoiler territory because there's no way to talk about this without talking about some of the major stuff that goes down in this volume, which is kind of ironic considering that it starts with this very sweet story, little mini story with Professor Ochirimatsu, who is kind of Astro Boy's mentor. He finds this damaged stray robot dog and tries to repair him. And you get to see a lot of what the professor believes about robots and about sentient intelligences, and that these things are worthy of respect and of life and of their own evolution in a real way. And they have rights of their own in their own way. And it's this very nice little framing device, because then we move into a sequence in which Pluto shows up again, does a lot of damage, Astro Boy gets in the way, and Astro Boy dies. Now, he's a robot, so yeah, but robots can be destroyed beyond repair in this universe. Astro Boy's killed. That's ballsy on Urasawa's part. I mean, this is a remake of one of the most beloved characters in, this is like killing off Mickey Mouse in a movie. You don't do that. And it's very dramatic, it's played up, and it happens in Volume 4 out of 8. Full credit for him for doing this, because now all of a sudden, we can move to all sorts of other plot lines without wondering, why isn't he going back to Astro Boy? Astro Boy's out of the picture. So we can concentrate on the rest of the plot. Really, really smart. Because we then move on to Hans Haas. Now, for those of you who've been reading, Hans Haas hates Gesicht, the protagonist, and has been trying to assassinate him, thanks to the robot-hating organization he's part of, the KR. Unfortunately, the KR also wants Hans dead because they don't want the evidence linking back to them, which is a good reason not to join an evil organization, by the way. So Hans is targeted, his car's blown up, stuff like that happens. All of a sudden he realizes that, oh man, I'm in danger, my family's in danger. And so the police get involved, and they assign a bodyguard for Hans. Gesicht. Yeah. Now, Hans is in this really interesting situation. This is one of the brilliant things about Pluto. As far as I know, Hans is a completely original character. So this is all a completely original situation. At this point, Hans knows that he's in deep, deep waters. Stuff's going down. And he and his entire family could get wiped out at any moment. And he still hates Gesicht. He still would love to see Gesicht die. As it's explained, and as Gesicht realizes later, apparently Gesicht killed Hans' brother. But robots can't kill. So something weird's going on there. But you have this character who is ultimately a weasel, but he's a weak weasel. And he was put in this position because he's perfect for it. And you realize he's the kind of guy who is trying to do something bigger than himself, but isn't capable of it. And did it for all the wrong reasons, and now he's in over his head. And he has this very difficult situation because the KR still wants him to kill Gesicht, and they still provide him with weapons and things to kill Gesicht, and says, hey, if you kill him, we'll back off. So he's totally caught between a rock and a hard place, and he's just miserable and wriggling in here. And here are these weapons, but he knows if he goes after Gesicht, he's going to fall foul of the police. They won't be able to protect him. Things are just really, really going badly. And it's great to see a character like this who is not something you root for, but see him squirm and see the real problems of putting yourself in that situation. And we get more of this background plot that apparently Gesicht killed someone. And I love how Urasawa does this, of pulling in these little mysteries that he doesn't go on about, but that he does delve into in later volumes. You know, it's so easy for folks to introduce some mystery that just gets ignored for the next 10 volumes. Or where they explain more about the background. You know, oh, he's this, you know, the Dragon of the East. What's the Dragon of the East? Well, let me tell you. You know, none of that. There's this weird thing, and then we come back to that, you know, a volume later or 2 volumes later, whatever, and get a little bit more about it. And by the end of this volume, you're certainly a lot more curious about what's going on with Gesik's past, and his technician is starting to realize that there's more going on, that things have been hidden about Gesik. And by the end of the volume, also, a significant character comes up, reversed again, Dr. Tenma, the creator of Astro Boy, who's not Gendo Ikari at all. I don't see why you think that's Gendo Ikari at all. No. Yeah. And what I love is that they go in a very Gendo Ikari way, direction with Tenma in this. He is this driven, intense, serious guy with these strong ideals who is also kind of failing at them. And you get to see, I mean, nothing about him really, but he gets introduced and you realize, oh, he's a piece of work. He's not quite as psychotic as Gendo, but very interesting. So we get to get into his character. I mean, this guy who created what's considered to be the greatest robot on Earth and who disowned him. Whoa! So, lots of more dark stuff here, and things are just getting more serious and more intense. And I've still got to give Urasawa great credit for continuing this pace. This feels like essentially the same pace as Volume 1. I mean, he's stretching this out just perfectly over the course of these volumes. Very, very impressed. So it continues to impress me volume by volume. Great stuff. And pretty soon I'll be reviewing Volume 5.